It's a good sign when I'm getting ready to hit that and the camera glitches. But belated, get it out of the way. Merry Christmas to everyone. Hope you had a good time. Hopefully you weren't freezing to death. I drove past him and Justin's neck of the woods, and it absolutely sucked temperature-wise, but it was still an enjoyable, weekend up there once, it stopped being below zero, at least where I was. See, look, I'm having one of those days, but you could still hear me, so screw them. I'm not arguing with it anymore. I had one of these with Chuck, and it just kept cutting out like every 4 seconds on me, but the audio is still there, so but hopefully you had a good time. It's been a crazy year of wrestling. Everyone deserves to get their awards, at least our opinion on it. I think we'll agree on a bunch of it. There were people, there was a lot of stuff that happened even in AEW, and as I'm sitting there literally going, like, what happened? That's memorable. Besides really bad things, there was a lot of really bad things that happened.
Yes,
a lot of inconsistency. But I was
it would have been much easier
consistent.
to make a list on that.
Yeah, like I was like the rest of this NXT. I was like, okay, well, I could add a few to this because there are some people overall that stood out. I'm not just going to pick one best performer because there are some people that absolutely hit it across the board. There, AEW was like an hour of just staring. So I'm going to get AEW out of the way. If that works for you, get out of that, and then we can move on to the machine that be. But I have a few people for my male wrestler, for them. I don't remember even what you said, but I have to give it to Mox just because, he was the company. All hell broke loose. He put off a vacation to come back and keep doing it, and he's still there. So no matter what, he deserves to be their guy, no matter who else is there, no matter who. I'll argue that one in the comments section. Like, he's number one for me, and then I put Dak second just because of what he did both as a tag, and his solo matches were still really killer. And I hated him in the machine. I didn't hate him. I hated his Fu Manchu, and I hated the fact that we knew that the gimmick was never going to go anywhere with Vince. So they were literally just there. So it wasn't a them thing, it was a them thing. But those are my two, Mox and Dax. And there's a bunch of other people that performed well. But for me, those were the two standouts. And there was no drama behind any of it, which is,
Yeah. I gave mine to Mox as well, solely for the fact that when everything went down, they got on the phone, gave him a call, and he carried it through. And
for months,
carried himself as the professional that he is. Through all the dumb CM Punk stuff of we're going to have you lose the title and then win the title and then lose the title and all that. Mox was the clear winner for me. Some guys deserving of some credit. Obviously, Bryan Danielson.
Yes.
In my opinion, the best wrestler on the face of the earth.
Oh, yeah. Without a shadow of a doubt. People just hate him because he was in the machine. Like, that's really all you could say bad about him.
Yeah.
Or how you feel about him, work, like he can work. He can really, really work.
I think MJF winning the AEW title. His storyline with Punk earlier in the year had some moments and had some downfalls, but the
I'd say the first one was good. The first promo was good.
Yes, it went a little downhill. They were trying a little too hard.
Yes.
The match was good. I particularly liked the match where MJF won twice. He cheated to win, and then he won again, which that's a surpriser. Usually when the bad guy gets caught cheating and they start it, usually that means the good guy wins, but he won it twice. Chris Jericho, man.
He deserves credit.
That dude at his age, for how long he's been doing it, the quality of matches that he put on this year, he did some crazy extreme kind of matches, and then he just put on some regular matches, and then reinvented himself with Jericho Appreciation Society, which I really don't like, but he makes it entertaining. And then I'll throw Punk in there because he did win the title, even though
apparently, according to Dax, he didn't want to win the title. It's like, well, then why'd you win the title, get injured, and then immediately get the title? Like, I'm pretty sure as your CM Punk, you can go. No.
Yeah. I have my opinions on him.
Buckshot Lariat of the year.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt. I didn't even know what the hell anyone was making fun of for weeks. Completely. I don't watch. No, I've heard enough horror stories about Bleacher Report and how good they are. I'm just not giving them that much money for that. No offense to them, even though I do hear they put on good shows. But yeah, I mean, Punk, for how much he came in, he's just too old and grumpy and cripple. And
yeah. I feel that's on me. Like for real. Like I was so excited, as you know, when he came back. Like he is one of the guys, on my list. Well, it was, but I felt he didn't do a whole lot that was important. The stuff he did do sometimes felt flat, and then his in-ring work I didn't think was ever really great. I mean,
no,
like they had that one match where he basically chased MJF around the arena for 10 minutes and had to stop every 20 seconds to catch his breath.
yeah, I don't
But
think he put in nearly as much effort as he had to.
no, he took the big payday and
Big payday, the big pop merch sales, and well, that was about it to me.
Yeah. But I mean, when it comes down to it, I mean, this isn't even close. It's Moxley. John Moxley deserves everything for the year. He is the division, and it's crazy because he doesn't really have a character. They put him in the Blackpool Combat Club thing because everybody has to be in a group in AEW, and
Yes, they do.
that's
That's why
not
there's
really a
73 of them.
storyline. That's not a storyline, but I mean, just he carried the company, and
He did.
He is one of the true success stories in AEW. I will say he is one of the.
Yeah.
I mean, he was great in WWE, but you really can see his skills, and I think he was underappreciated definitely in WWE as far as just in ring work goes.
In the machine, he didn't stand a
like he can do
chance.
everything. He can wrestle a technical match with you, and he can do the blood and gut stuff. And
I appreciate his talking style. I appreciate his talking style. A lot of people seem to trash on that. I appreciate it just because it's him, and you can tell it's
I mean
him. It's 100% him. But he didn't have a snowflake's chance with Vince in charge. Once he came rolling down the ramp on a hot dog cart, it was over. It was over. But I've seen a lot of people dumping on him when it came to I thought he deserved to be higher just overall in the PWI's top 100. I thought just because he just kept going, but I don't think he'll ever be as appreciated as he should be just because of all the blood and guts and all that stuff. I just
and I think part of it is he's considered by many the third best in the Shield.
Hear that one all the time.
Which I mean, I think they're all great in their own respect. So I try not to compare them for that. It's amazing that all three of them guys came up at one time and they all hit. How many times does that happen?
Never.
They bring up a group from developmental or now NXT
anywhere
or from anything, and three young guys, and they hit on all three of them. That's just amazing.
Yeah, whoever actually put that part together, I'm not giving Vince credit for that. They did that right. They did that real right, and
they brought him in dominant, and then the swerve of the century of Seth Rollins turning, and they've all gone on to have
outstanding
Hall of Fame careers. And I mean, I think all three of them probably hit in my top 25 character, wrestlers probably all time.
Yeah.
Especially with Roman's run. Roman wouldn't have been there, but this run has just been great. And we'll get onto that later. But
I think it's a hell of a run. And again, he was where he is now is where he needed to be, Mox, because he was never going to get any bigger in the machine with who was running the company. It just wasn't going to happen. So this was the right move for him. The sobriety is helping. And again, people are just going to hate him. I mean, half of his hate is just because he's in AEW now.
Yeah.
And he's actually one of the bright spots in AEW because you watch a lot of it and you go, why? But
Moxley deserves L wrestler in my opinion, and the fact they brought his lovely wife over and they didn't throw her on commentary because I like her. I love her in short segments, but commentary not her thing. But the backstage stuff, that's great. I'm sure she'll get involved in a storyline of some sort.
And the group she was with commentating, it wasn't that didn't do her any favors. They've kind of sucked picking commentary teams. We will get to that. Don't worry, I will shit all over them because they've done bad, but female wrestler, I mean, I know who you picked. I know I have to pick Tony Storm just because she was the most consistent, like through a long period of time, months wise, being there and doing it. And maybe Jamie Hayter just because she was always there and improving through the whole year. And I love Thunder Rosa, but I mean, she did great, but then 3 months into it, suddenly she just vanished the whole time. Britt's been here, there, and everywhere. Athena's tried to blow her face off like 6 times. I mean, I literally at least 2 or 3 broken noses. Like I'm not exaggerating. Like she's broken her face
Yeah,
repetitively. It's been a really
definitely.
weird division for me.
Yeah, the women's division is tough. I mean, yeah, Thunder Rosa probably dominated division the first like 4 or 5
Yeah,
months, and that match, that cage match where she won the title with Britt Baker,
Britt,
that was actually a really good
yeah,
match for a cage match
for them, they
that.
put. I enjoyed it. I didn't like the end. You could tell there was some sour grapes, in my opinion, at the finish of it all. But I thought for what I had, feelings going into it, just because it's AEW. No offense to them, I thought they put together a really good
That
match there, and I
was
thought she was on a hell of a run, which is why she got the belt anyway. Like she was just wasn't banger after banger, as Sheamus would say, but
yeah. I mean,
she's still pretty damn good.
I'd put Tony Storm on there. She was champion. She was consistent. She's not my favorite. I think she's kind of
No,
boring, but that's
there's
just
just something
me.
about it that isn't as good over there as it was
Yeah,
over there. It's just not
and
hitting the same way.
I mean, and I will always have Britt Baker on that because, in my opinion, she is the face of the division. I
She
mean,
is. She's like the new
she
Cody,
is.
though. That's her problem. She's the new Cody. When someone gets there,
Yeah, they're all going after.
they go through Britt, and that's what they have to do, which I think hinders her at a point, which is Cody even admitted like how many times can this be?
Oh, yeah.
But she deserves it. Where she was at the beginning compared to where she is now, she's leaps, bounds,
Oh,
and mountains ahead of where she was. So I'm fully okay with her being in the top 3 for the year, just because when she was there, she was there, and
oh, yeah.
they brought in 75 women this year. So to make everyone happy, you don't get to see her as much.
Yeah, my pick though, I'm going Jamie Hayter. Not only the title victory that she finally got it, I think the build up the entire year as being Britt's side chick to her dominating, and you see it coming and you see it coming, and even though she's a heel, the crowd is behind her,
Yep,
and
she deserves it.
then they teased the turn on Britt, but then they didn't do it, which I actually at first I wanted to see that, but now I actually think it
Yeah,
adds another
I
level for
appreciated that one.
eventually you're going to see Britt versus Hayter. Eventually that's going to happen,
Yep,
and
it
that'll be
has to.
exciting. Also the fact of where Hayter started the beginning of the year in the ring and how she is now.
Yeah, night and day.
She is much better. I actually there's quite a few of their women wrestlers that you can actually start to see a
Yeah.
little bit of improvement. I think adding who did they add as their trainer? She was not Impact forever.
Oh, I could see her face.
Yeah,
Blonde.
Yeah, one of the beautiful people.
Yeah.
Velvet Sky.
There you go.
Velvet Sky. Yeah, adding that I think actually helped, which I kind of mocked it at first, but you could see some improvement with some of the women. I mean, Jamie Hayter, obviously.
What's
Anna Jay has been one the last 6 months that's really been getting some screen time and doing.
I'm not as big of a fan as their new ring gear, though. Don't give me that shiny split. Let's go back to normal. But that worked. That's just preference. What can I say? I'm not a flashy human being. Look at me. I've probably been wearing this shirt for 2 days. Granted, I haven't left my house and I don't have it on except for when I'm doing this, but I'm not flashy. It's just and what's her name? The one trainer that we've seen on TV a lot more having matches. I can't think of her name. It'll come to me in the middle of nowhere, but I think that yes, having her there is a good thing. Having her, Madison Rain, there you go. Her there.
There you go.
Yeah, good thing. Soraya being there. Soraya being there. Whatever you want. Like Serena Deeb, like I think they actually have, even though they have way too many women on the roster.
Yeah, way too
I
many.
think they actually have a very good, solid base to actually make them better, because there's times where you're watching the match going, where I just watch it with my head down. She's going, what? And like, but I don't want to see what's going to go wrong.
that is their biggest problem with everything is with that many competitors, they'll get a couple weeks and then they'll be gone for a while. Which for anybody who is hoping that, Sasha Banks joins AEW here in the beginning of the new year, I believe the same thing's going to happen to her. And I kind of think that's why AEW might be attracted to her.
And then she's going to walk out because that's what she does. That's what she does. I know, like, here, sidebar. You're welcome, Justin. How many times, like, I know all the people that I'm friends with on Facebook, there we go, Facebook, through the autograph people and all that, when they go to AEW, all the pictures that people give them, like, even with MJF as they're walking in the building, like how open they are to getting pictures. And one thing we know Sasha is open to being nice to other human beings. She is historically bad for it. Like, Randy in the gym is one thing. He's trying to work out. Like, don't be a dick. Sasha, I've heard more stories about her being miserable to people at airports and everywhere else than anyone in the game ever. Like, if even MJF can give you the finger while he's taking a picture with, like, at least he's taking the damn picture. Like, just shut up and smile.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, that's not going to work. I think it's laughable that she asked for Charlotte and Becky money. Hey, WWE rightfully laughed.
And while we're there, she brought star power. She's left consistently. They're like, here you go. How many title reigns did you have? When you win it against Charlotte on, like, Raw, and then you lose it on the pay-per-view? How many other women were even being on TV during that, to include Becky? And look what Becky built herself to be. Look what Charlotte built herself to be. You just whined and complained, and then, to get the first ever tag titles, and you cried, so you went away, and that's why you lost at WrestleMania with Bayley. And then this last time, like, you were going to be in a main event. It's the women's tag titles. There's no division.
Yeah.
Be happy and keep going along. You're not worth what they are. Sorry. You know who's worth that much? Bianca.
I mean,
she just grew up.
She has, she
has the talent, the ability, the charisma.
And she's starting to get into the, like, entertainment industry. I think she was on that show that's after Raw with like
Barmageddon
stuff. So, that's how you build yourself, unless you can find something special about you. Like I think Becky Lynch is like an outliner of how she did it. I mean,
because it was so just that was one natural. That was just one of the biggest builds and they didn't even have to do anything. Like, just let Becky go, and she went. You're welcome, Cameron Grimes. I don't know where the hell you are. Probably coming out the Royal Rumble, but you know what? But hopefully she doesn't go. I think that I
think so.
I want to see how New Japan's deal goes and how she works out with all of that. I don't think she's going to improve her stock. No offense to her.
I think it's crazy.
I really don't.
New Japan paid her more than they paid Jericho. How can you?
AJ Styles, Jericho, like Kenny Omega. Like, look at all the names. She got the biggest contract ever.
And stinking Jericho brought so much money. They so underpaid him for what he did over
just
there.
Mentioning him sold out the Tokyo Dome. Like, Jericho will be here. And he got
how many, especially in Japanese wrestling, like that's
a whole different thing.
They don't take their women quite as seriously.
I think the big difference is, though, Jericho's looking at, like, the whole business, and Sasha's just looking at her goddamn self, which is why I refuse to care. Like, all you people on there on the internet, which would be some of the people from Fightful Brian, like, I'm sorry, and I do have these people I talk to on the Twitter world. I don't think she's worth it, but she needs to prove a whole lot to be worth the most money ever, because she's not going to sell anything out past 1 or 2. She's going to be unhappy sooner or later, and then you guys are going to be in the situation you're in now.
She'll be mad in 3 months when she's wrestling on YouTube.
Yeah, like, I don't hate her character. I don't hate her in-ring work, minus the fact that she broke someone's neck.
Which I just think that'd be just crazy that Saraya, if she comes back rumored as Soraya's partner on, like, the second or third Dynamite of the year, or whatever.
They do that, I'm turning the channel.
It's like, ooh, she's coming to help me, even though she ended your career. So, like, yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, before we keep, I can talk about her forever, which is why I haven't posted anything on Facebook, Twitter. Any of you people that are watching, like, what? No, why? I don't want to argue with people about her. But Jamie Hayter, yes. Tony Storm, yes. And Thunder Rosa for when she was there, yes. Otherwise, everything's been hit and miss here and there. I've been everywhere. Like they're all across the board. But I'm glad we agree on Jamie Hayter. I was happy to put her on my list. I thought she actually, like, to put the title on her, actually made nothing but sense in that situation, which they don't do very often. So good job.
I personally thought they should have gave her the title when they put it on
Yeah.
Tony Storm, but I guess they wanted to go,
we got the bigger build out of it though to get,
so
people are
in the
digging
long
it.
run, that was a win for AEW.
Hey,
and
she's a heel and the fans are digging it, which is the perfect situation.
Which, speaking of wins of AEW, I think we can move to the tag team division, and there is not a bigger win for AEW. This isn't even close. The Acclaimed is the tag team of the year. The way they got themselves over, I mean, they've been, or they, I don't know, are they original AEW talents from when it first started?
I do
the
believe
way
so.
that they have built themselves, where they got a small following because they're good in the ring. And the rapping thing was kind of dumb, but most of the time, like, it wasn't
most
horrible.
Of the time he hits. Yeah, there's a few times where I'm watching going.
But then they came up with I don't know who came up with the Scissor Me Daddy, but that got them on. I mean, on a whole nother level.
I have them second, behind FTR, just because of the matches FTR was having all over God's creation. Now, if we're just going straight AEW, the Acclaimed is up by a mile. If we go overall tag team there, I mean, FTR was winning tag matches like in all these other countries, while FTR the Acclaimed were
AAA and New Japan and Ring of Honor, their series there with the Briscoes.
They were having those matches while the Acclaimed was literally sitting at home on their days where they weren't doing. So overall, because FTR is there, yes, but for tag team that built the most and produced the most just from their original guys that didn't like homegrown, like they are the best homegrown talent
ever. And the great part
in AEW.
And it was all them. AEW did nothing. Like,
oh yeah. Well, that's the good thing. That's one of the pluses of not having all those writers and all that. But then there's also, like, there's what, go do it. But then there's the other side where we're sitting here going, like, who writes this shit? But like, you guys have been in the business for 20 years, and that's what you came up with. Like, I'll give you the kid in the meme, just because I love that damn meme. But yeah, those two, without a doubt, FTR and Acclaimed, like, those are the only two on my list. No, like, I saw other people online mentioning the Gun Club, this, that, the other thing. Like, no, FTR and the Acclaimed were the tag division for AEW all year.
Those are the only two that you can take consideration. Like, they're the only two that have any kind of argument. I did throw Swerve and Your Glory in there, even though
they were great for what they were.
Now
they were great for what they were.
Thrown together tag team that gave
was good.
Something to do, and a little title run there.
How much do you think he's regretting his life choices?
I know. And
like, hey, what Vince is gone.
I did put an honorable mention for the Ass Boys there.
I just can't look at them.
To be honest, like, I never see them wrestle, but they stay relevant, which is
their faces just
important.
Their faces offend me.
I didn't like the whole turn on their dad. That whole
entire thing with all of that was just, and then it led to nothing, which is why it was dumb. Them doing all that, at least if it led to something, like, but they turned on them and no one remembered anything, and suddenly they were in the Firm or whatever the hell we called that, which is then like done that fast. Like, it was so good, and then it was AEW with no writing team, and it was poorly executed because it's just a bunch of idiots going, yeah, we'll do that.
But I mean, when they do wrestle, I mean, they put on good matches. They're both young. I mean, I expect them in the next couple of years to be.
I just think they need more experience.
Yes, they're going to be a really good tag team. I mean, they're not in any kind of serious contention for being the best, but I thought they deserved at least an acknowledgement. Also,
for everything they did, yes.
I was trying to fill up a line, so
yeah, I'll give you that for them. Hey, I was there with some, but I'll give you that just because between them doing their thing and them with the Acclaimed, and then them turning on the Acclaimed and their father, and then somehow they're still there. would I've liked to see, FTR slaughter them in like 4 seconds. Like, what? Bye. Like, what?
Yeah.
Please God, what? Figure out how to wrestle and talk before what? But I just can't look at, like, I look at them and I go,
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something about them that offends my brain. Call me whatever you want. I get called everything in the comments section on Twitter. I get called all kinds of things. But
maybe I don't know. I have a
I,
soft place for them. I like them. They're on Dan Housen's YouTube channel a lot, and
there's another guy that dude, that Danhausen. What, he gets so over without even, like, he's just there.
he's like 5'6", 120 pounds.
He's so awkward looking, and then he's just, everyone loves him. So good on you, Danhausen. I don't have you on the list for shit, but shout out to Danhausen.
He got the best YouTube channel though in the wrestler game though, because his stuff is hilarious.
It is. I'll give him that. No, I can't. I'm moving on to match of the year. I don't know what you have next on there, but you added a few, so I'm just gonna put Brian Cowboy in the draw. Was that match was phenomenal. I saw people bitching about it online. What, if you did not like that match, you actually don't like wrestling? What, just because it's AEW?
Yeah, that
not mean you have to shit all over it. Believe it or not, I know, hard to believe. What, just because it's AEW, you can still like it. And then I have Dax's singles matches, and then you had a bunch of stuff on your list that I was just sitting there going, what was good about any of that? Because I forgot that, well, he was even there at the beginning of the year, saving everything before he went to WrestleMania, and, well, blew the roof off of that too. So on to your side of it.
I mean, my number one also was Bryan Daniels versus Hangman.
That was so
ironically good. Was the very first Dynamite of the year.
That was so good.
And it went downhill from there. Yeah. But I threw MJF Punk their first match where MJF won twice just because they let him win twice.
Which does never happen.
I liked that match. Bryan Danielson versus Moxley. That was the match that started the Blackpool Combat Club, where I guess, where Moxley would join him or vice versa if he won. And
that didn't make my list just because I didn't actually see it. I just saw clips on the internet. So
that was a heavy hitting match.
Those two. Yeah.
The Anarchy in Arena, I am not usually the biggest with those like gore matches and stuff like that. I can appreciate
most of them are poorly done.
But that was great there. The Jericho Appreciation Club versus the Blackpool Combat Club. I mean, they're on top of that kind of like a Hell in a Cell thing there. And they all have their submissions in, and Cesaro swinging people up top. And
Cesaro swing. By the way, I didn't get to see it, but shout out to Cesaro for getting Jericho to spin, to tap out in the swing. We've seen him swing a lot of people. For him to hold it that long and not, like, what,
on top of it,
like him just like Cesaro's swing, he deserves to be a big high five, Cesaro. But we'll get to that. No, we're getting there.
Then that Cody Rhodes versus Sammy Guevara, that's for the TNT title. That was Cody's last match in AEW.
That was the one I was bummed I forgot, because I actually really did like that.
That was
match.
A great match.
There was just too much that happened since then.
Cody's last like 3 or 4 matches in AEW there with them TNT title shots were great. Outside of the stupidness where they had Brandy light a table on fire, other than that, that was stupid. But other than that,
I loved it that it stuck to his back, and we're all going, oh, what? He's done. What? And there's Hannah looking up, going, she's screaming. I'm going, what? That wasn't supposed to happen like that.
That was great. I
believe he saved the TNT title. He was the last good TNT champion. To me,
I believe Sammy did like a Spanish fly from on top of the ladder. Like,
I love a good Spanish fly. If you ever see me on Twitter, guys.
The sad part, that's like Sammy Guevara's like highlight of the year, and I really like Sammy Guevara, but it seems like, since they brought his real life relationship on the screen, he's just filled with a whole bunch of stupid. And
don't worry, I have a category for that, because he's super talented.
He is the one of the couple young guys that could carry them on to the future, and
they just keep sticking them in
dumb stuff that take on to the end.
I'll say it for everyone. Shit.
Yes, that's
at least Ty Mello. Anyway,
But
It's a stage name, honey. What doesn't matter if you're married now. What technically, if you're going because you're married, it should be Ty Guevara. When just, thank God for her backside, because since she switched over there, the matches haven't been. Yeah, I do like Anna JAS though. Good job for her doing that. I'll give her the name, the credit. The rest of it, well, just like the rest of the JAS and purple bucket hats.
yeah, that's.
And this isn't me shooting off a mortar or something. What?
JS is stupid, but
it's very, very stupid. But yeah, say I thank you because I literally forgot about Cody, and I love that match. I was watching, going, "What? God damn! If he's leaving, this is how you're supposed to leave. What? This is good." And then, well, the TNT title has never been the same since. I hated that whole thing just because it was flippy floppy back and forth. But at least Cody gave it consistency, and look how many people have been champions since then, or we just haven't seen it.
Like, yeah, I think that's supposed to be like defended every show or whatever, and now
it's just poofed into non-existence.
With the other, like the North Atlantic title, and
by the way, if the All Atlantic title, like you got all those flags on there, the fuck is the Japanese flag doing on there? What? All Atlantic. Japan's in the All Pacific. What? 100% Pacific. Couldn't be any farther in the Pacific if it tried to be, but hell, that flag's on the All Atlantic title. I'm sitting there going, and then people yell at me. I'm like, but it could be, but you can't call it. It's in the Pacific, but it can't be All Atlantic. But it's okay. What the hell do I know? It's just Tony Khan throwing stuff together because, not only do they need to have 157 groups, they need to have 756 titles to go with those groups.
Yeah.
I mean, they really do. And then you don't even see 3/4 of the titles ever. So the only reason you see the trios is because, well, Kenny and the Bucks are back. So now we get to see it every 5 minutes. Otherwise, they really don't even have any big trios that they could even put. Like, that's the problem. They have a million groups, but how many times can they throw the factory out there to get murdered? Which I enjoy seeing. So if anyone gets this Tony Khan, do not stop booking that. Anytime the factory just gets slaughtered, I'm a happier person. There's just something about that big hairy bastard that just I enjoy seeing him just get mauled. Yes. Whatever the hell his name is. I couldn't even tell you his name. With the guy on steroids. That dude, keep beating him. I'm not talking about Brian Cage, and I have to give Brian Cage a lot of credit. He's not on here. But that dude has got he's looked a lot better since he went with whatever the hell that group's called. That he's in with Ring of Honor with all those idiots. Like Brian Cage, like all the stuff he's doing, he's juicing out the wazoo, but he has looked better in my humblest of opinions since he joined that group, whatever the hell they're called. I'm sorry, there's too many groups in AEW. I can't remember them all. Leave me alone. They're in Ring of Honor, which is even worse because then there's groups there. I'm not that smart. Like, it's easy in the WWE. There's like 4. AEW, there's like 4 on the screen simultaneously. Like, what the hell do you want from me? I'm not that smart. I have cognitive issues. I got the brain damage. But moment of the year, what are you putting on your moment of the year? Because I have Punk losing his shit. Like that was the moment. That was the most talked about moment. That was the thing in AEW. Punk absolutely losing it. Granted, Regal agreed with him. Regal just did it in a professional manner and didn't cuss out all the executives, the owner, and the whole entire planet at one, in one foul. Just
right, sitting right beside the owner.
And there's Tony just.
Oh, yes.
You know what? This is going to suck.
Yeah, I was staying on a more positive note, but that definitely is the biggest moment of the year.
That was
just the really negative. I actually put MJF and Punk's first pipe bomb as mine.
Yeah, that pipe bomb.
That was great. When he said the less famous Miz, and then, Edge tried to spin off
that was the problem. But then MJF tried to spit, like it just got, like Edge tried to do it, then he tried to do it, and they just kept like, let's see how dumb we can get. They just kept outdoing each other in stupidity. But yes, that first one was because we were texting during that one. Believe it or not, people. Me and him text. I think Justin was even in the group chat then.
I think so.
Besides telling me, hey, what? This came out. Like, damn it, stop telling me things I need to spend money on. Like, I don't have any. Damn it. But Yeah, like that was the one positive big moment, because nothing else. They've had a lot of big moments. It's never led to anything minus that big
Yeah,
moment.
that's part of it. I mean, I honorable mentions, Soraya returning. I
Uh,
could care less what she's done since, but I mean, I was always a huge Paige fan,
yeah, I loved her
and to see
just
her
because she was different. And look
to
at
see
me, what
her be able to come back and actually
Pasha.
perform, that was cool. And it was a surprise. I didn't, for once, the dirt sheets didn't ruin something for me, so I didn't get ruined on that. So that was
That's why I
cool.
stay away from them.
I try.
People suck. Hey, did you know? Fun fact: the Sportster said that I wasn't allowed to work for them. This their editorial team. Did you know? Fun fact: I still haven't emailed them back. Someone tagged them in this. They sent me one of their most popular things to look over before I sent them my writing, where it literally said that New Jack killed the kid in the ring in the mass transit incident. Shout out to the Sportster. What you guys suck on your dirt sheets. Want to know why? Because he didn't die. Like you turned down my writing, but you published that. What? That's just a personal vendetta. We can now move on with our lives, but mine isn't good enough. But you posted on there that New Jack killed the kid in the ring. I have the problem with all of them.
Yes.
But yeah, I was happy to see Soraya back. I was like, because once she signed, I was like, she has to be there to do that. Like, because why else? I mean, what else could she do? Just because of how weird their division is, where it's like people are just here and there, like her coming to talk every once in a while, like it didn't make sense. And her coaching, it's not like she could take the bumps if she wasn't cleared to
Yeah.
take the bumps. So, but I was very happy to see her back. I was a super fan of hers. I'm not as big of a fan. Like even Hannah looks at her and goes, "Oh my god, how much work did she have done?" Like, yeah, I know, but she was having self confidence issues. Whatever makes her happy, But she's back and she's allowed to do stuff. And there's been a lot of that. Like that was the best thing overall in wrestling this year, or I guess the last couple of years. Edge coming back, Brian being okay, her being okay. Like Jade Russo, not
Yeah.
Uso, Russo. That'd be Christian, four peeps. That's his Twitter handle. Him being able to come back after all the concussions, like it's just been a very good time for
Yes. Where
medical stuff and people coming back.
medicine has been able to improve, and these guys have been able to get back to doing what they love, making money.
Which is
And
good.
Soraya was one of my favorite moments.
Oh my god, her
My
first night on
favorite,
Raw was that was years ago, but that was it. But her coming
even though
back.
she screwed up her finishing move, but that's okay.
Hey, these things happen. She was flinging around a rag doll. No offense to AJ, I love you.
Yes,
She played crazy very well, regardless. But
exactly.
matter who she's married to.
That's why she don't get talked about in as far as the women evolution because who she's married to, but that's okay.
That's why.
But I also, in the moment of the year, my favorite segment that wasn't MJF Punk promo had to be that Acclaim National Scissors Day.
They did a great job with that.
For how corny that could have been and how stupid, the machine would have made that.
Oh yeah, they would have made it.
That was great.
I mean, thankfully,
I every second of it.
Thankfully, at that time, though, at least Triple H was in charge, so at least some of the stupid would have been taken out, but it still would have been completely just. And Tony and them are like, "What? Go have what? Go." And it gives Billy Gunn on all those steroids something to do.
Exactly.
And that dude's huge. I still wish he could have came to the anniversary, of DX.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was kind of shitty that they didn't get him on there. Like, they should have been able to work something out, but.
I think if it would have been, like a couple months earlier, a couple months after, he was right in the middle of a feud, and I think that's why he was supposed to fight somebody the very next night.
No, bro, but I will give you that was see again, you went on a positive note with Moment. Look what Punk losing his shit. What that sums up AEW in a nutshell. What Punk absolutely losing his mind. And then look at the trios titles from there until the Elite came back. And then look, the trios titles matter again because the Elite are back and having a best of 7 where it's literally the same match over and over again. And that's the problem with all your super kicky, flippy, but I'm not trying to quote Braun Strowman. It's just that's what the Young Bucks are. They don't have like Kenny Omega can at least, wrestle and do power moves. What Those little bastards can't. That's all they have is their super kick parties and all that stupid shit. How many times can you see it? On repetitive weeks. And we know it's going to go to match 7. It has to.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, look who's booking the shit. It has to.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, as I digress, most improved. I know you threw in some. I'm going to say Jamie Hayter again. It was the Liv Morgan effect. I'll get to her on WWE, but from where she was there to where she is now, 100% agree with her being champion. She way more than earned it with how much improvement she's had. And again, it wasn't even that she was having a lot of matches. Like she's had a lot of matches since then. Like it's just when she gets in the ring, damn it, you're going, okay, what? That looks a lot better. What? How the hell come the rest of you aren't looking better? And then I will go with no, that's actually it. I'll let you go with the rest of
Yeah.
yours.
I put Daniel Garcia up there. I mean, he was obviously a great in-ring performer. I mean, he's been one of the top in the last couple of years, but he actually showed some personality this year, and what he did with the mic was much better.
His look is what kills him.
Yeah, yeah, but he's young, up and comer. I liked him. I put Warlow. Warlow turned into from MJF's
just power. All he did was power bomb people repeatedly.
Yeah.
Now at least he has a match while power bombing people repeatedly.
Yes.
Like he can have a match, and I thoroughly think he deserves that spot. I just wish they would book him better. But
yeah, I picked Jamie Hayter as the number 1, but if there was going to be a males division, Ricky Starks.
Oh yeah, Ricky with that like that. What he did with what he did on the mic with MJF summed it all up before that match. Like that.
Oh.
And you said it was great. I didn't get to it another day or two, and I sat there going, God damn, was he right? I rewound it and showed it to Hannah. I was like, what? You need to live what? This is good.
Yep. So that's I think, one of his biggest, even when he was with Taz and doing all that dumb, stupid booking shit, but when he'd be on the mic, you'd be like, what? This guy's an idiot. And the improvement he did on that, like it was so good to get him away from Taz
and Hobbs and all of that. And I hate Powerhouse Hobbs. No offense to the Book of Hobbs. I just don't like.
It just reminds me of 1997 WCW Jobber. Like that. Like they had like 10 guys that looked exactly like him. Couldn't talk, couldn't move. They jump over somebody, so they screamed that they were how athletic they were, even though the other guy ducked down and almost was belly flopping on the mat.
And you're doing it, Shivani. You know you're doing it.
Yeah.
You're welcome, Tony.
And the 5th person I'm gonna put in there, Julia Hart. Getting her away from them blonde bozos and putting her with
getting her away from the Varsity Blondes needed to happen. Wherever the hell they were.
She showed, she can be a character. She doesn't wrestle much on Dynamite, but if you ever watch the YouTube, she actually does wrestle there quite often. And
which is how she needs to do it.
For 19 years old.
Her getting misted in the eye, I think they delayed it about a month too long, her finally turning, just because they needed something to go under their big show. But her turning was the greatest goddamn thing they could have ever done, because her with the Varsity Blondes, no offense to Varsity Blondes, like we got Pillman, and then we have the other guy. I don't even know what the other guy, Griff Garrison. Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what his name was either.
That guy. Like, no offense. Like, I know he has, like, he's nowhere near ready. There we go. He's not ready. I'm not saying he doesn't have talent, not saying he doesn't have charisma. And granted, at least they gave Pillman a shot. And I think Brian has it from his father. Is he there yet? No. Is he trying, did he try to go back and do the Hollywood Blondes thing there to do the Varsity Blondes? Yes. Did someone probably talk him into it? Probably, to go and homage to his father. Do I think he should just go and let go of the mullet and just let her rip Tater Chip and try to do something besides that? Yes. I think where Julia has grown, like now we just see her and we all go, uh-oh. Like we see him and we go, uh-oh. It's a different uh-oh. We lower our heads and we're like, oh, this is going to suck.
She plays a great character and she's getting better in the ring. I'm glad that they limit her for the most part to the YouTube show and not putting her because that.
Yeah.
Could, but she's 19 years
She's a
old. I
baby.
didn't realize she was that young.
I didn't know she was that young till you said anything. Believe it or not, people, I don't pay attention to people's ages in personal life. Why? Because they deserve privacy. Except for Sasha, she's a fucking dick. Everyone deserves privacy. She has a history of being
I only
a dick.
found that out because I was trying to come up with our next segment there of best newcomer, and I couldn't think of anybody. So I was looking for young talent on AEW, and she's the youngest person on the roster.
She is good. My list was Tony just for coming over, so newcomer to them, and Claudio for coming. I don't remember when he came over, but for what he's done this year compared to what the machine what Vince let him do.
Oh,
like he's
my number one newcomer.
List.
I have one person on my list really for newcomer. It's Jade Cargill, even though I think they're pushing her harder than her talent is ready for, but she's
not ready yet.
She has the charisma though to hold it.
Yeah.
It's just her in ring
isn't
there. But and I know this is a reliving of WCW. This is a Bill Goldberg all over again. Just she's female.
At least every week she doesn't turn around and go, how the hell they get 35 wins in a week? At least we're not doing that part of it, but I think she's gotten better. I think they've pushed her way too hard, and I think the whole baddies thing, it's like, why is Red Velvet, like they did nothing to explain any of that, which I think hampered her having them, because it was like, suddenly, oh look, the baddies. We're like, what the fuck is Red Velvet doing there? Because they didn't explain any of that, which I don't think really hampered Jade, but I don't think it helped the whole situation. But I think she's gotten better. It's just they, like when they built her up in Marina Shafir forever, and then everyone will listen and say, JD from New York. What? I know how much hate he got on Twitter. You have a Twitter. I don't know if you saw how much he was getting shit on that whole week for her versus Marina. Like even Rebel and all of them were saying that he's a piece of shit. Get rid of him. Well, and he said it was going to suck. And guess what? Marina Shafir got ragdolled, rolled, and squashed in 2 minutes. Why? That shows where Marina is, and that shows where Jade is. What? Just killers. The biggest momentum, biggest push, the ads because all the show was Jade and Marina, like all I saw everywhere, and then it was a 2-minute squash. Like, I'm sorry, Jade needs to. I get it. I think she has a great future. She's got the build. She's got the look. She can talk and piss people off. I think her promos are a little too much, the same thing on repeat all the time. Cut the shit, Tony. That has to be said. All of that. But I think she's improved since the beginning of the year a lot. It's just there's so much hate towards her because it's literally, and they just give her so many squash matches when she doesn't have one. No one even notices it just because there's so many like Marina Shafirs and Willow Nightingale, which is bye. That I don't think they're helping her with the booking. That's my problem with her.
That is a big problem. Like they really needed somebody that you actually think can beat her. That's
the problem. And they don't have.
I'm hoping like a returning Chris Statlander probably here in the beginning.
That'd be great. I love Stat. Not as much as you. I love me some Stat.
I do love Stat. I just wish she'd stop blowing up her knees.
Stop blowing up your knee, get rid of the face paint, and just go.
Yes, just go. She's great.
Find an intelligent way to use your knee. What Seth figured it out after all kinds like Triple H. Find a way where you could go through most of the match without doing a lot of impact to your knee. Because once an ACL goes, I mean, no one lies, but it just keeps going. Tick, tick, tick. It's historically known. So I'm looking forward to her. Who else do they have? Athena's going after Mercedes Martinez last I checked. Soraya. I mean, Soraya got the title. I mean, at least she can work with the younger talent coming up that really need to be in the ring with someone like her. It's just her neck can like that. They're in that conundrum.
Yes. Where do you feel safe putting Soraya in a match with Jade and her?
Or Athena. Athena will just blow her face apart. Then she'll fall over and break her neck, and then she'll be the double whammy.
That's somebody where WWE's safe wrestling made her look so much better than what she is. Because
I think she was looked a
now that
lot
she
better in
could go,
NXT than she is now.
she could go to AEW and AEW just like, oh, you guys do whatever you want out there.
Beating the shit out of people.
And it's
I'm not
bad.
saying that in a nice, like, she's been beating the fuck out of people. Like the legitimate. Like, I've watched some of those going, is this a work? What? Like, what? She ain't wrestling or what? She is mauling her. Like, even Jade and Britt understand what put them down quick, but she's like hurting people. Like, it does not look good. Watch out. Oh, hello. Well, look at that. We got
I don't know kids, so she's not hiding.
I have animals like that. I don't blame you. But yeah, and the biggest disappointment, I'm gonna say, given the title to Punk, the women's title, just because of how wishy-washy it's been. Like every time they give it to someone's getting hurt, interim title. Like, I just think that once she got hurt, move it on. It was just like, the heavyweight title, what? He's done. Just give Mox the title. Let's not do his interim shit. Why? Because it's just, I don't like interim titles. In those, if they're going to be gone for like 3 or 4 weeks, what interim title you guys face off? Whatever. When it's 3 or 4 months, like as they finally said, Tony Storm was an actual champion the whole time. Like I thought that was dumb. So I didn't like that. Sammy Guevara did the whole JAS thing because I think it's done nothing for him. And guess what? The same thing goes to Danny Garcia because he was so hot. They were doing such a good job, and then they had him go back with Jericho in the JS, and he lost his title, and he just walks around a wife beater going, like, what the did him go? Like, they built it up. He had a shot. He was hot. He was over like Rover, and they put him right back with Jericho. And since then, he's lost his title and walked around like in a wife beater, looking like a jackass in some sweatpants. If even sweatpants, it might be dress pants. I don't pay attention to him because I think they've dropped the ball 1,000%.
My biggest disappointment is, I'm going to say, we sat here, exactly a year ago, and we made our predictions, and I was very high on AEW, and I was high on the 4 young guys, your Jungle Boy.
Actually high.
Your Jungle Boy and Darby Allin and Dante and MJF and Sammy, and really the only one that had any kind of success this year is MJF. Darby Allin now, every match is he's going to run 100 miles an hour, fling himself into somebody, and bounce off.
I'm not trying to be a dick to Sting, but for the love of God, stop him. He's going to kill himself. He's not going to have a career literally going mock Jesus through the ropes, bouncing off of someone the size of Brody King, and then spiking off the ground repeatedly every night, over and over again, several times a night. The bumps enough break people. He weighs this much.
Yeah.
Can we, Sting, for the love of God, stop him from killing himself?
Yeah.
Sting will never listen to this.
Darby's a big Jungle Boy too. Like they had that whole build up of Christian, and then it just like went away. Like it was there. It
was hot. It was gone.
And
that's what they do.
He has not developed himself. I mean, he came out with that promo, and everybody thought it was good because he dropped an F-bomb or something in it, and no, it wasn't good. He just basically said he's going to kick Christian's ass, and ooh, good for you. And then they flip flop Luchasaurus 75 times in that. It's like,
again,
but yeah, that's my biggest disappointment. Has to be the young talent. I mean, Dante, I haven't seen like anything from him. I don't know, maybe he's hurt. I don't know. But
no, he just had a match with he was just in the whatever the hell they called the thing for Christmas, but trios, whatever, for 300K with his brother and whoever the hell else was their partner. Like,
yeah,
here's a good, I think. His brother keeps getting hurt. Like, can we just push him on his own finally, instead of pushing him on his own, then being like suddenly he's just gone and waiting on his brother, and then hey, he's here, and then he's gone. Like, that kid's way too talented. No offense to his brother. His brother's good too when he's healthy, but Dante, like, we should not be just not seeing him for months on end because his brother.
believe last year I said Dante was going to be the breakout superstar this year,
And
and
look what happened. We're
they
both
hit
sitting
him.
here going,
Where is he?
like you had such a good chance. What? And you guys did what you always do. What? You fucked it.
He had a couple good matches too
Yep.
in the beginning part of the year. I can't remember off.
And then it vanished.
He fought Jericho, I think maybe. I don't
Maybe
know. But
Brian. Maybe there's a Brian in there. I mean, I think there's a Brian in there or a Mox but he was having good matches, and then it was just like, oh, his brother's coming back for, and suddenly he's just gone for 2-3 months.
And then you don't even really push them. That's the AEW's
Top
just, they
flight.
don't have a creative. They don't have a creative department, and that's their problem. I mean, it's so crazy because we're going to talk about the Machine soon, and the Machine over creative team stuff, and AEW has no creative team. Man, they can put them their theories together. Might have something there, but
Yeah. But as we sit here, that does absolutely suck. But now that it's been almost an hour, I say everyone pay attention to episode 210 because it's coming right after this. And we're going to kill the machine. So be on the lookout. It's coming. Enjoy yourselves. I'm a dick. I'll see you later.